Hello and welcome to a new episode of Insurance Mantra, your weekly guide to understand the world of insurance only on ET Now. You can also send your insurance related queries on our WhatsApp number. But in today's episode, we turn our focus to a subject that touches every household: health insurance. Rising medical costs and increasing health risks have made health cover not just a choice but a mandatory. Yet questions remain: how much health insurance is enough? Why are premiums rising? What innovation are insurance companies bringing make health insurance more affordable? To answer these and more, I am joined by special guest Mayank Bathwal, CEO of Aditya Birla Health Insurance. He will share his insight on industry's growth, customer needs, and how mission of insurance for all can be achieved through a better health protection. Stay tuned. This is Insurance Mantra. Thank you so much, Mayank sir, for joining our show, Insurance Mantra, and coming to our studio. I'll just begin with the most recent development which Prime Minister announced related to the rationalization of GST, and we'll see that insurance sector, health insurance premium, term insurance premium, now experts are saying, and our sources are also saying that health insurance premium will be brought under the 5% category and below 5%. So how big a development this is, and with or without ITC, would you be able to pass on this to customers completely?
Thank you, Anurag, firstly for inviting me to the show. On your question on GST, I must say that this is a very big development, and we must thank the government for making it. It seems like happening soon now, and as you said, our hope and expectation is that insurance will fall in the 5% category, because from 18% to 5% means 13% cost reduction, and in a category where we are consistently having this conversation that how can we make this more and more affordable, especially for certain categories of our people like seniors and missing middle. I think this will be a very, very big advantage, from a consumer perspective, and of course for us to be able to take this product to them. On your point on input credit tax, I do hope that, and it's important that input credit tax is available, because then we will be able to pass on the full benefit to the consumer. Because if input credit tax is not there, to the extent we are incurring GST on our inputs, and that is not available as a credit against output, that extent of cost we may have to adjust.
Presently at 5% input tax credit is not available.
That because 5% was a special category of rate. In the new regime, I'm hoping and assuming that because 5% will become a normal rate category, input credit tax should be available unless they want to kind of create. So we'll have to wait for some of those nuances and details. But as we had even earlier, when we had made a representation to the government, we had requested that whenever you bring down rates, please do keep the input credit tax available for us to be able to give.
And just for assumption, if input tax credit is not given at the 5% rate, so premium will remain same or it may increase?
So let's say, to the extent I'm not able to, today, let me give you with some data. So today, let's say for a Sahi company, normally the input credit is about 8 to 10% of the cost. So let's say if 18% is GST, we can get this entire 8 to 10% adjusted against that 18, and therefore the full, nothing is passed on to the consumers. My sense is that because the rates will become 5, this 8 to 10% will go down to maybe 4 or 5%, even on the input now. So if that 4 or 5% is not available as a credit against, let's say 5%, then we'll have to increase premium by this 4 or 5%. And therefore consumer may not get the net benefit. But if this 4 or 5% is available fully against as an adjustment, then the consumers will get full benefit.
Okay, full benefit. So you're saying that, okay, ITC should be there.
I would really urge for that to be done.
Okay, sir. So my next question, because our focus is on health insurance, and we often get so many questions, and you also must be addressing that health insurance is not affordable anymore. So how can we make health insurance affordable? What insurance companies should do to make health insurance affordable? Because most of our queries, I'll say, they are saying, sir, the premium is increasing and health insurance is not affordable.
See, it's a very simple equation, Anurag. And I think firstly, I do agree with you that for a product which is required by every citizen of this country, the more we can make it affordable, the better it is, right? So technically there are three or four elements of, what is the premium comprising of. We are paying the healthcare cost. There's a cost of distribution which is normally slightly higher in the first year, and then it goes down. And then there is GST. Now, if GST issue we discussed to the extent that it will definitely bring down the cost. The other two elements are, is there an opportunity to consistently look at newer models of distribution and keep bringing down the cost of distribution? I think platforms like Bima Sugam and all are going to be great enablers for that, right? To bring down that cost to whatever extent we can. Then the big element left is healthcare cost. And whatever we can do to make that more affordable, because finally, please understand, Anurag, that health insurance companies are a pass-through of healthcare costs.
Yeah.
We are paying on behalf of the customer to the hospital. So whatever is the rate charged, if that is going to be at 12 to 14% inflation, there's a problem. So to make it more affordable, I think it is these. And there's only one other element, which is that there's a large fraud, waste, abuse in the healthcare cost today. To the extent we can bring it down, we can reduce the cost of our premium.
So, how much of your overall outgo in premium for your company-wise and for industry-wise do you think is a fraud outgo?
See, for every 100 rupee claim that is lodged, data shows, and now that data is corroborated even by IIB, which is a body which gets all of the claims data from the entire industry, and that is really very helpful. Anywhere between 15 to 20% of the claim amount has an element of fraud, waste, abuse. Because fraud is not just about fraud. Fraud is also about, one is fraud, which is just not payable, and there is an element of waste and abuse, where there's an excess charging just because their insurance is there. So the question is, how much of that are we able to detect? The data and cutting edge technology, analytics, and etc. plus the body data going to IIB, and therefore one body having entire industry data is helping us detect more and more and more. Plus, as we are becoming bigger as a category, we are able to have conversation with the healthcare side to bring it down. But still there is some element which is undetected, and therefore it goes through. So maybe good consumers are having to pay for that.
So 15 to 20% is quite a big percentage, sir.
Yes, it is.
And you also said that excess charging. So excess charging, you mean to say that hospitals?
Of course. There is an element, we have heard enough stories, right, that if you go and say, I'm insured, the rate changes. So we'll have to address some of these issues. And I'm not saying every hospital does. I think we deal with thousands of hospitals. Most of them are, doing the right practices. But there are elements there where we have a problem. And I think this issue has to be addressed.
So how this issue can be addressed? Can there be a solution between hospitals and insurance companies? Both can come together and solve this issue?
See, finally, what is insurance doing? There's a triage, Anurag. There's a triage of patient, provider, and payer. And we have to work for the benefit of the patient. So the payer and providers, we are payers as insurance companies, providers are the hospitals. Finally, it is important that we continue to have dialogues with each other to find an address, because I'm sure the hospitals will have their own set of challenges that they face with the payer side, and we have to address those problems for them as well. But these dialogues will have to happen, and we have to find a way to address this whole cost issue. Because what are we seeking? We are seeking predictability of cost. That this is how the costs will pan out over a period of time, so that we can price in the premium and give a sense to the consumers also that this is what you will be charged in terms of your premium. Because they must know that if they're buying not only premium that is there today, but what is it likely to be tomorrow, and because this is a as long a relationship as they're getting into.
No, so but when you were saying so 15 to 20%, and if you fix all these issues, the fraudulent claim, waste and abuse, then genuine policyholders' premium can be reduced by 20%.
See, it's not 20. It's not that the entire 15-20% is paid excess. The fact is, I'm saying it is. We are able to detect a lot, some part of this. Maybe 10-12% we are able to detect. 4, 5, 6, 8% may not be detected. To the extent we keep reducing that, there will be an element of benefit to the consumers. So to that, what extent are we able to kind of bring it down? That is one element. But the other element, of course.
But sir, with the cutting edge technology and all that AI ML model is there, do you think that over the years it has gone down?
Yes, of course. If I look at my company itself, from when we started 8 years back to today our models are able to kind of throw up triggers much more better, and they are much more precise than it used to be. Because please remember one thing, Anurag, that when you're detecting these fraud, waste, abuse, you don't know exactly in which case this is the problem, right? Sometimes the trigger will say here is a problem, and some genuine consumers might also get impacted by that. So it's a question of many things happening together to keep bringing down this cost, which is wasteful from a consumer perspective.
And sir, common empanelment can be a solution among many solutions, and how helpful that can be?
It is, of course, and that's why the industry is working towards this endeavor for some time now, and I think now we are seeing some positive action there. So the idea is, we don't want to shortchange the hospitals in any way. What we are trying to do is that let's come together, and from your perspective also, you will get access to all the insurance companies.
Yes, yes.
And even, by the way, even newer insurance companies will get benefited because of there. So please understand, the tenured insurance companies are giving away some of their benefits to help everyone in this process, right? And so you will have to deal with one entity, which is like right now the council, to address all your problems. And if we can agree on what is the right rate, whatever is the right rate, we are not saying that we are experts in defining the rates. We can have common, independent bodies which can help us. Like for example, PMJY, there's a body which helped define those rates. Bodies like those can help define what should be the rate for other categories.
That was a story I just came across, the 7-year-old story where I interviewed you only, and I was wondering that 7 years down the line also nothing has changed.
Yeah, I mean, when that happened, we all hoped that will help in addressing the cost rate problem. But I think we have to do some more work, clearly.
Okay, sir. Sir, now shifting focus, that there are a couple of reforms planned in insurance sector after the GST rationalization. The Insurance Act amendment is also there. So how game changer that would be? And there is a one element in it, value-added services. So that value-added services is more beneficial for insurance companies or for policyholders?
See, let's understand what is value-added services. I mean, what is the rationale behind that, right? And let's take the example of health insurance. The whole idea is that when I'm, let's say, selling a health insurance policy to a consumer, there are opportunities to augment that offering by offering related health services also. Because value-added services, it is very clearly said, it must be linked to the core product. So if it is health, it must be linked to health. So now suddenly, if I can add elements of health services to that product, the offering becomes much more richer for the consumers. Let's say access to some health services, or access to, it could be whatever they are defined. It could be nutritional health, physical health, mental health, clinical health, whatever the consumer might choose. There could be a bouquet of other offerings which are linked to health insurance and go together.
And that will be offered by insurance.
Offered by us, of course, delivered by, like in the case of healthcare, by other providers, but the offering becomes richer for the policyholders.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, Mayank Bathwal, sir, for sharing your insight with us on Insurance Mantra. Time for a short break now. On the other side, we'll be joined by Sashidharan Nair from General Insurance Council with more perspective on insurance sector. Stay tuned.